Hey guys, welcome to Growth Traders. So this is a video for Bitcoin and Ethereum and some other coins where we shall be analyzing the charts of these and shall be predicting the moves, the potential moves on either of the sides based on the recent price action and chart patterns, right? So without further delay, let's proceed to the video. So as you guys can see, I have the daily chart for Bitcoin. So before going to the short term price action, I'd just like to show you one thing. So let's switch to the weekly time frame. So as you guys can see, prices have actually printed out a higher low in this case, so that is a good sign for the long term price action, the long term price movement, if I were to be specific, right? And one more thing to note here is that prices have actually made a proper double bottom in our weekly time frame. So this is a good sign, and whenever we see chart patterns forming up in higher time frames, especially in weekly or daily as well, the accuracy of them is significantly higher, right? So this double bottom can very well reach its target for the short term, right? So without further delay, let's switch to our short term or daily price action and let's analyze that, right? So what we can see right here is prices have actually made a range recently, right? So if I have to talk about the upside, so that is around exactly at the 45,000 mark, and on the downside we have some kind of a trend line. So here, this is something I'd like to draw, right? So what we see is prices are actually forming this kind of a range, and then it is bouncing off from this trend line, followed by again hitting the resistance and then just carrying on this move, right? So I am not expecting any high momentum move on either of the sides until and unless we break any of these levels, right? So on the upside, we have to actually break the 45,000 mark, as well as this 200 EMA, which is getting down recently. So if the prices break the 200 EMA followed by a retest towards the 45,000 and then an up move, then we can expect to see Bitcoin reaching 50,000 for the short term, followed by 52,000, 54, 55, and the next resistance levels, right? So that is the plan for Bitcoin. Of course, right now the chart is not looking absolutely good for a short term trade, but we shall be waiting for it to make a proper direction before we go long or short, right? If I have to talk about the downside, then of course we have to break this trend line. Once we break this trend line, once we sustain below 35,000 mark, then we can see Bitcoin heading towards new lows for the short term, right? That will not be a good sign for the long term price action as well, right? This might very well result for a long term downtrend in Bitcoin, right? So that is not what we are expecting as bulls, right? So Bitcoin, I have told everything regarding this, and that's my plan for it, for going long here, right? So let's move on to Ethereum. So this is again Ethereum. So what we guys can see is actually a short term downtrend, right? So actually the prices did make this trend line as a pretty strong support, right? It is acting as a pretty strong support, and this resistance trend line, a counter trend line to the long term uptrend, that is acting as a short term resistance for this. So we have here too we have to wait for this trend line to get broken and a retest toward the 50 EMA, followed by some move on the upside, right? So that is going to be the plan for Ethereum, right? So Ethereum, again, the chart is pretty good for the long term, but I would still like to wait for a confirmation, right, before going for a buy on dips based on the long term price action, right? Since the global markets are not really great right now, there are a lot of negative sentiments all around the world. We have geopolitical issues, we have rate hikes, we have everything going wrong, going against the market. So right now we must wait for confirmations. We should wait for retests before thinking of trading any significant move on either of the sides, right? So Ethereum, of course, this is looking good, but we have to wait for a confirmation, right? Let's switch to some more bullish charts. So I would really like to have a look at Luna. So Luna, it is absolutely rocking right now. So here what we can see is prices did break out from this short term downtrend, right? It formed some kind of a triangle pattern, and the consolidation, I mean to say, this triple bottom which has formed, that was formed exactly at the 200 EMA, which shows its importance, right? So here prices did actually bounce from a pretty strong confluence zone, right? So this significant move has been accompanied with some good volume. You see, if we apply price action, right, so we see increasing volume, right? So that is a really good sign, and right now it is on the verge of breaking out its all-time high, right? So that is a really good sign for Luna. So if in any case it breaks out this level and we see a retest toward this level, then we can definitely go for a long with a stop loss just below the previous all-time high, right around here, and we can target for a 1:3 here. So this can be a really good trade, right? So 8 all-time high breakouts, those are really good moves. We have seen them before, right? So that's the plan for Luna, right? So I will be looking at one more chart, so that is AVAX. AVAX is also looking really great. So what, as you see here, if I were to draw a trend line, a resistance trend line in this case, so this is a resistance trend line and we have a support trend line as well, right? So it is a proper triangle pattern and it is actually near the 50 and the 200 EMA, right? And also this level is serving as a pretty strong confluence zone, right? So of course we can wait for a breakout and a retest towards around the 85 mark, followed by a significant move on the upside. Overall this chart is also looking fairly bullish, right? So just have a look at the Fibonacci. I'll be just plotting it. So see here, prices are consolidating between the 0.5 and the 0.618, and the 0.5 level, that's where the prices are right now, right? So fairly strong zone, major area of interest. So please do keep this in watch list. If we see momentum here, of course this is the best kind of move we can expect from here, right? So AVAX, that is also done. So we have analyzed 4 charts, namely Bitcoin, Ethereum, we have AVAX, we have the beast Luna, right? So I hope this video has made some sense to you guys. I am sure you might have learned something from here. So let's see you guys in our next video.